Hello? Is anybody there? He's a strong traveler. Ah, there's an open door over here. I'll make my way. Hello? Hello, traveler? Hello? What? Hello? Is there anybody down there? Fighter! Hello. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are making me slightly uncomfortable. No!
Have you ever wondered what it's like to wipe entire squads all by yourself? Do you crave the sweet sounds of a crossbow bolt smashing through the dome of an unsuspecting enemy?
Oh! Oh!
Perhaps you enjoy a little comical roleplay of not one, not two, but 3 different personalities?
All right. There might be a different task here for us. We need to eliminate these warlocks. The Academy has put out a hit on them. And you 3 adventurers might be exactly what's needed to take them out. All right. Now I might have to use one of my first spells here in battle here. Don't worry, Mr. Fighter. I have a spell for you. Haste! You should notice your speed ever so increasing. Yeah, there appears to be an enemy coming my way. Don't worry. I'll do this. Don't you worry. Lightning strike! Lightning strike! And I'll bust out another one. Magic missile! I'm getting a little tired, a little lightheaded. All right, I can do this, though. Let's keep it going. It appears you're not dead yet, Mr. Warlock. I'll show you. All right, it's time for our first lunch break. Everybody gather around. Yes, I'll grab the cobalt after. Everybody take a seat. This is our standard issue mandatory lunch break. If you do not participate, I will have to write you up. Ranger, get your ass over here. You need to take a seat right now. Ranger, I'm have to write you up. You are removing your PPE in the middle of a shift.
I'm sorry.
Take a goddamn seat. All right, now.
PTO for you.
Exactly. Now I need to go around.
Sorry.
Does anyone have any sort of heart issues? Okay, Ranger, you do. Anyone else? All right. Okay, so here you go. Here is your Monster Ultra to make sure that you finish the rest of your shift. All right. So, Mr. Ranger, you're not going to be able to consume one because you... All right. All right. And here you go. Here's the last one. Get to drinking. There's more ore to get. But you are being troublesome. Who did not pick up their damn Monster Ultra? Mr. Rizzo.
I drank it.
All right. I'll drink it for you then. All right. Now, remember, the heart palpitations are just you working harder. Mr. Fighter, I think you need to think about what you've done. Mr. Fighter, you've fallen right into my... What are you doing? Would you mind closing that for dramatic effect? At least until I finish my speech. Thank you. Mr. Fighter, you've fallen right into my trap. You humans are all the same. Dumb and not a single... Where'd he go? What? Not again, I've been bruised. There you are.
Or maybe you're just interested in the length and width of your fellow gamers'
Hey, you want to see something cool? That's pretty cool, huh?
Greetings, gamers, and welcome to episode 13 of the Player Profile series, where we sit down for a campfire chat with SrslySoapy. Soapy is, unironically, one of the best rangers in the game, but he would tell you that he doesn't really play ranger. Instead, he has actually perfected the ranger subclass of archer. He is among the best squad wipe artists in the game. His streams are the perfect blend of sweaty gameplay and humor, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that he's solidified himself as one of the best all-around Dark and Darker streamers. It was a pleasure and honor to have him on the program, and I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. And we are live. They've already started with exclamation endowed. It took all of 5 seconds into the player profile. That is incredible. Babs, well played. Well, welcome in all. This is long overdue. We are gathered here today in the year of our Lord 2024 for the long-awaited, much-anticipated player profile of the one and only SrslySoapy. Welcome to the program, sir. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. How about you, man?
I am good. I can say, not going to lie, with 100% certainty, this will be the best player profile of 2024 so far.
Okay, I'm honored. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, we got that. 100%.
Yeah. I got to say, you're looking well. You have a aura of cleanliness and love just emanating off the camera there. It's just looking great.
Yeah, you know what's actually really funny about like the cleanliness thing? I don't even like associate the term soapy like with soap. Like I know that's like my avatar, that's like the whole like brand and everything, but I didn't even get the name like from like a soap thing, right? So I don't put that same like connection towards it, which is actually kind of funny. But
so where does it come from then?
Okay, this is a throwback. Actually, I guess it's not that much of a throwback. But were you an Xbox gamer? Did you just have like a normal original Xbox?
I had a PlayStation 2. That was the last console that I bought.
Okay, did you have an N64?
No.
What?
No, and I lied. I had a Nintendo Wii. When my son was born, I bought him a Nintendo Wii, but I haven't bought any consoles for myself. No, so never had an N64.
Damn. Okay, so you're just a PC gamer like the whole way through, probably. Almost.
So, as you may or may not be aware, I'm a few years longer in the tooth than yourself and many others in the community here. So, I had an Atari 2600, and I had the original Nintendo, and I had a Super Nintendo and a PlayStation 2, but that was it.
Okay. Yeah, so the name comes from a game franchise called Conker's, right? Conker's Bad Fur Day, but then more specifically, Conker's Live and Reloaded. This was like before I had like online. I never had Xbox Live because like my family growing up, we didn't have internet until I was like 16. So pretty much what I would do is like I'd play online at like friends' places, but I didn't actually have my own internet and like Xbox Live account, whatever, till much later. So I'd always play against AI. I was always always farming AI. However, there was one AI who would always farm me, and each AI in Conker's Live and Reloaded has a unique name, right? Like they have their own gamer tag, and one was called Soapy Illusion. So that's where the Soapy name comes from. So whenever Soapy was on my team, we would win, and he would do really well. Whenever we were on the other, or he was on the other team, he would just kill me. But I don't think, for the record, I don't think the bots actually had different AI or skill levels or whatever. That's just how my brain recognized it at the time. My stupid little child brain. So, and then from that point onward, I was like, yeah, Soapy, there it is. Yeah.
All right. That is not what I was expecting whatsoever for the origin story of the name.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. We're going to talk a lot of Dark and Darker today. obviously. But before we get to that portion of the program, let's talk a little bit more about your evolution as a creator and as a human. So, unlike a lot of the other people that I've chatted with on here, had the privilege to chat with, you are one of the few that I feel like has a full-time gig elsewhere. What's your primary hustle in life, sir?
So lately, it has been streaming, which
It has
is
been. That's a
fucking
recent
crazy.
thing. But
Yes.
prior
yes.
to, what were you
Mhm.
into?
So I'm gonna be honest. Like up until like from pretty much the time I was born until I was 20, I was not good at like a single thing other than video games. That was that was the only like talent that I had at that time. And thankfully I got really lucky. Like I can admit this. Like things for whatever reason in my life just tend to work out. I don't even fucking get it sometimes. So one of the first game franchises that I got like really, really good at was Gears of War. And what ended up happening was just throughout the time I played the game competitively, did a lot of game battles for anybody who remembers those. Played in tournaments, did well. I did always choose. I don't regret this decision, but I always chose to play with friends first instead of like the better player, like the best of the best or whatever. Even though that like some like pretty high ranked players or high competitive players would play with me, I preferred to play with friends just because the Gears of War community, if there's any that are watching, they know it. They're a little toxic. That community can be a little toxic. I think
A
that's safe to
gaming
say.
community that's toxic? Say it ain't so. I just don't
Yeah,
believe
exactly. Exactly. I know. I think Gears of War has like a very die-hard, sweaty fan base, so it's even amplified for them. So what ended up happening is I just kept playing competitively with my friends, game battles, all that type of stuff. I occasionally would make connections with people, would occasionally talk to like a developer or something like that, because I was one of the people in the community who played the game competitively, who was also really involved in the forums. Most like pro players and stuff like that, they would just have like no involvement in the forums. They like didn't talk about the game outside of with like other pros. They'd only talk in their little pro circle and they would never venture outwards. However, Gears of War got dropped by Epic Games. So that got bought by the Coalition, which was Black Tusk Studios at the time. And that was in Canada. Another problem with Gears of War is like pretty much all its fan base is in Mexico and the US. Pretty rare for there to be like Canadian players. You wouldn't really think so, you know. A lot of people play games in Canada, but back then, like for someone to actually be like a pro player or near that level in Canada was pretty far in between. So, just with like connections and stuff that I made there, they actually reached out to me and they were like, "Hey man, do you want to come work on Gears of War?" And I'm like, "Huh?" You know what I mean? Like, like literally got the job at Microsoft simply from playing video games. Like that was it. I had
Damn.
no other credentials. I had the most. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't make a habit of
I'll,
it for the
I'll
YouTube algorithm, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to buzz you or anything.
I'll reserve it. I'll reserve it.
Yeah.
Most dog poop resume that you could imagine. Like I think at that time, so like it was something like I worked on like a farm as like a farm hand. I worked at like a hardware store, and then I worked somewhere else, and then Microsoft. It's like what the fuck, and like you know, all with like a high school diploma. You know what I mean? So it was like super fucking weird. But then that ended up going super, super well. I'm not sure if we're wanting to go into depth about what I did, you know,
Hey,
at
it's your
Microsoft
show,
or
man.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty freaking interesting that you went from basically nothing to Microsoft. How many years were you there for?
3 exactly. So I had
Okay.
a 3-year contract. Unfortunately, at Microsoft, this is like probably the weirdest thing to describe, and I hope they've changed it by now. You can work at Microsoft as a contract employee for 3 years, and then you have to take 6 months
6
off.
months off. Yep. Enterprises
You
do
know.
that. Oh, I know. They do it. They do it here in Ohio too. Big enterprises.
So stupid.
Yeah. But go on.
So
Go on.
stupid. Okay, well, I just have to say this. We lost so many good people because that stupid
Yep.
fucking rule. God damn it. Okay, sorry, I'm getting triggered. Okay.
Yep.
So basically, once that 6 month rule, and I guess I'll dive back into what I did there too after, but after that 6 month rule came out, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be unemployed living in Vancouver. Like I gotta move back fucking home. I can't pay fucking $1,500 in rent while looking for a job and shit. So I was like, okay, well, that's it for the game dev stuff for now. And I thought I'd always get back into it, but I ended up not doing that. So when I initially got hired, it was basically for Gears of War. It was actually for Gears of War Ultimate Edition at the time, which was a remaster of Gears 1.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically a glorified tester. So I started on as like a quality assurance tester. And then that like just kept evolving over time. Like it just kept evolving. So it basically started off as that, and then I kept getting pulled away for like balancing things. I kept getting pulled away for level design stuff. I was like running the play test for a while where we discussed the level design and balancing stuff. So eventually they were like, this is too annoying. You're getting pulled in like 10 different areas. Here's your own role. Just do whatever the fuck you want, pretty much, which was really
Nice.
fucking cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I cannot believe I got that opportunity at that time. It was the freedom. I probably took a little bit too much of advantage of it, admittedly, but the freedom that role had was absolutely crazy. It was so crazy, and it was really surreal. However, I do have to say that from working there, it also caused me to hate Gears of War a little bit, like a little bit. Maybe hate's obviously too strong of a word, but it made me kind of lose my
disenfranchised,
passion.
maybe.
Yeah, because I got to see like, oh my god, like especially for Gears of War 4, like when we were making that, like I'm like, oh my god, like all these ideas, like the game's looking so good, and then the producer's like, nope, and then another producer's like, nope, nope, and they just keep pulling away all the good shit. And it's like, no, like we have to keep this in. But then somebody who, makes like 10 times as much as me is like, no, we can't do that. That's not good. And it's like, okay, well, fuck. So just little by little, we kept seeing like, there was like me and like 10 other people that worked there at the time who were like super, super passionate. We just kept seeing all of our ideas for the game never really seeing its final vision because of, the corporate stuff and whatever.
Right.
And then just in case I forget to say this in a bit, I want to say it now. Okay, I have an unbelievable amount of respect for Iron Mace. Unbelievable amount of respect. You could tell that they care so fucking much about the game they're working on. And like, dude, that motivates me to just play and enjoy the game because I have worked with so many developers. Me and my friends at the studio call them like the soccer dads. Like
they're just punching the clock. They're punching the clock.
And there's nothing wrong with that. They're providing for their family, but holy fuck, there's no passion in their work whatsoever. And the impression that I get, maybe I'm biased just because I love the game so much or whatever, but dude, Iron Mace cares so fucking much about the game they make. And like, dude, like even for me as like being a streamer and stuff, like Lucy pops in the chat, SCF pops in the chat more rarely than Lucy. And then even fucking Terrence said he's a big fan of the stream. Now that could have been a bunch of bullshit from Terrence. I don't know if Terror Bear actually knows who I am. But I hope he does.
You've got pictures to prove it, man. You've got pictures to prove it.
Oh my god! I was thinking about we should use maybe that one for the player profile interview. That would have been hilarious.
Oh, especially if we could have animated it, it would have been great. If just occasionally we animated Terry, that would have been it would have been golden.
Been so good.
Oh, Terry Bear.
So like I don't know. People get so frustrated with Iron Mace, and I'm just like, I've seen it. I've seen that curtain pulled back, and I can just tell that these guys care more than any other developer that I've seen. And I actually, the one positive thing probably about the lawsuit is even though it's obviously disrupted their game immensely, it probably has also made them that much more passionate. Like that, like, you know what I mean?
It's
like
their
that
baby that they had to protect. Right.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So, all right. So we're working our way through the evolution of the soap, and we've got through game development, and we can circle back to that if you want. But after that, when did the personal training thing come about?
Yeah, so I dabbled in trying to get a remote. I wanted to move back home because I lived in Vancouver for 3 years. I live in Ontario in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just away from family so much that I was like, okay, I just want to live at home for a little while, not pay $1,500 in rent. After living in Van, fuck you. I know rent's more expensive now, but Jesus Christ. And I was like, okay, what can I do? And I actually worked. I worked for a little bit for Epic on Fortnite, but not as a developer. It was more of like a community position. But I don't think I can talk like too much about what I did there. I wasn't like a community manager. I wasn't like a head runner or anything. I just dealt with like some email bullshit basically for a little bit there. Hated that, so I stopped. So I quit the hell out of that job. And then after that, actually maybe like 2 weeks after I quit that, I was just working out at my local Good Life. I don't know if you guys have Good Life in the States. Basically,
Not
like
that I'm
24-hour
aware of.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's like LA
those.
Fitness.
Yep.
A bullshit commercial gym or whatever. And I was just working out there, and again, the fitness manager just comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, want a job?" And I'm like, "Sure, man. Why not? Fuck it. Sure." You know what I mean? So again, I got another really cool job from just being there, I guess. I don't fucking know.
See, kids, that's the lesson in life. Just show up. Good things will happen. Just show
I
up.
guess so. I guess so, man. I don't doubt it for a minute, man. I've just had really good luck. I don't know. Just chugging that luck pot right from the birth, I guess. I don't know. 150 roll. Or actually,
No
can a luck
kidding.
pot roll 200?
I don't know. I've never had a
Wait,
200.
Ryan
is in the chat. Mr. 6 days a week. We need you on the 7th day, Sunday.
But yeah, and then I started working there, and I was like, holy fuck, I actually really like this. And oh, brain's farting. Yeah, and I really liked it. And I was like, okay, like I want to see. I tend to be like a really competitive person, just like in my own way, like more so like with myself, not necessarily others. And I wanted to see. Actually, I guess this next point kind of doesn't make sense with competitive to others. But I wanted to see if I could break like all the records there. I wanted to see. So there was a record of like how long it took for someone to get their first 3 clients and how long it took for someone to get to full-time hours, which is like when you're training 30 hours a week. So like you see clients one-on-one 30 hours a week. Makes it so it's like you're working 40. And I beat it all. I got all the records there.
Nice.
And I was feeling super fucking good. Probably the reason why that I felt like so good about it was because I used to be, for those who don't know, like not, I was gonna say social reject, but that makes it sound like I got bullied in high school or something. Okay, I was just like a normal dude, but like I a small town, so like no one really played that much video games. I was kind of like the only like gamer. I'm like, yeah, I play games, I'm good at them. What about it? And then everybody else was like, "Oh, you play video games?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, what do you mean? Of course I play video games. So like I only connected with like a very small handful of people, and then I kind of just knew everybody else, right? So I was like, and then also I used to be, so I wasn't like super good in like social scenarios, and I used to be fat as hell. Like at one point in my life, I was 400 pounds. Well, technically the scale stopped working at like 385 or 380 or something.
Okay.
So I just assumed that I kept gaining weight, which I probably did. But just to make the number sound as cool as possible, I was like 400 pounds at one point, and I had a 46-inch waist, or maybe 44. One of the two, 44 or 46. Like, you go and buy your pants. My pant size was like 44 or something like that. Like, holy hell, how does that even work?
You crossed over into the big and tall section at that point, for sure.
Oh yeah. I was in the double big and tall or something. I don't know.
Hey, by the way,
crazy.
150 is max unless you're a barbarian. According to Ryan, you can boost it with Potion Chugger.
Oh, you can boost that with potion sugar. Interesting.
I don't know
Okay,
if he's
okay.
trolling or not, to be honest. I have no idea.
Oh, he did do a laughing emoji after, so I don't know. Maybe he is trolling. But and then
But anyway,
after
so
yeah.
yeah, carry
So
on.
after I was 400, I was like, fuck it, I gotta lose weight. And I got down to, I think the lowest I was after that point was 217 after 2 years. And then game dev made me gain some fucking weight though. Holy shit. And so I was like, okay, like it felt good to like really succeed as a personal trainer after being someone who, wasn't really like the best socially and like used to be like morbidly obese. So that felt really, really cool. During that time, I guess it probably would have been the first time that like I streamed, I guess. Was
How many
sometime.
years ago are we talking? Are we talking 3 years ago, 5 years ago? How recent is this?
I think it was like 2020. That was like when I started
Okay.
working
About three.
at the gym was 2020, I think.
3 to 4. We'll say 3 to 4 years
Yeah.
ago. Okay.
Yeah, 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years. And there was actually a game that caused me to start streaming because I was like, holy fuck, I think I'm pretty good at this game. I was playing Valorant at that time, but I wasn't streaming Valorant. I was streaming a game called Super People. Which if you fuck, I kind of missed the game, but it's also such a meme. It's such a meme of a game. It's basically PUBG with abilities. Like that's what it is, right? PUBG and Overwatch.
Yeah.
And I realized I was like, damn, like I'm pretty good at this game because in Valorant, I was pretty hard stuck like Immortal 2. I just couldn't really ever get Immortal 3. I would always climb, but I could never quite hit it. And I was just really bad at working with my team. Like I'm way too confrontational. And like if somebody, oh my God, I have to say this. If somebody is like passive aggressive on my team, like they'll just make like a little remark, even not even if I make a mistake or like a teammate makes a mistake, I have to call them out. I'll just say, what do you mean by that? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And like I would always argue with teammates and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons also why I haven't been too interested in playing with like teammates and stuff in Dark and Darker. I think I just like the solo grind. But so I was trying to figure out like what game can I play that like satisfies the competitive urge, and that I can like grind. And then I was like, damn, like Super People ended up being and again, this is gonna be a really big meme in our community, like my community on Twitch or whatever. And I ended up grinding it like fucking crazy for a season. I can't remember like what season it was or whatever. I do have the screenshots, but I ended up getting rank 1 in North America as a peak. I don't think I finished there for the season, but I did peak there. And it was in their solo mode. And I did the same thing that I do with Dark and Darker. I just play one class. If anybody plays Super People, I played a class called Strike Force, which basically you like jump super high, you fly super far, you move super fast. It's like kind of like a Ranger, but kind of not. It's like Ranger with like an SMG or something. That's like kind of what it is. And nobody else played it. I'm pretty sure I was like the only Strike Force in like the top 100 leaderboard or whatever. But since it was so like unconventional, I would always catch people off guard because I was like super aggressive. Like I would just pop, sprint, and run at people. And everybody, it's kind of similar to like the way Dark and Darker is. Like everybody like is so afraid of dying. Everybody's like so afraid of death. But I was like, fuck it, let's go, and just send it. So
it's so much more fun to play that way. There was a point. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit, but there was a point during the playtest phase where, it was one of the first tournaments. It was the first tournament that we played in. We started practicing. So it was me, my son, and my other buddy. And as we were doing scrims for this tournament, it was like the first time where I dropped into the dungeon and I felt like the hunter. Like we were really practicing like what our runs were to find the most amount of people possible in the shortest amount of time that we could. And it completely changed my perspective on the game. I don't play that way every time. Obviously, I don't think anyone can play that way all the time. Maybe you can, but Yeah, so I know exactly what you mean. Like when you say a lot of people in Dark and Darker, I know that was my natural disposition was to, one, have gear fear, two, be very careful, only take fights when they were like when it was a perfect scenario. Like I heard
Hmm.
someone get hit, I had an opportunity to buff or get buffed. Like that sentiment I think is really, really common. So I can totally see how you being the exact opposite of that was catching people off guard for sure.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it ended up working out so well that I was able to get rank one, which was really cool. Again, I didn't end rank one, so whether that actually counts it or not, I'm not too sure. Um, and then I think and the crazy part about the game is rank one North America was rank 15 worldwide. It was great because all the
Dang.
people in the top 10 leaderboard were all from China. I mean, that's
Jeez.
all I'll probably say about that. But
It's a
you know,
popular country around here.
yep, yeah. Um, and then that went nowhere as far as Twitch went. That went kind of nowhere. So I was like, okay, like I got my name, up here. Nobody's really caring or looking. Like the game had like a pretty big player base by that point, though. Like I was kind of
Mhm.
surprised because the game had, again, it had different modes and stuff like that, but it had 40,000 concurrent players. It was free to play on Steam, right? So,
Okay.
very very easy to amass players. But like just nobody seemed to watch. Like just my friends or whatever. Like my IRL friends would watch or whatever.
Mhm.
So I thankfully ended up getting affiliate, which was cool. And they all subbed and stuff. All my friends supported me and whatnot. And they're like, "Yeah, man, I think you can do it." But I'm like, "Okay, like I think so too." But where the fuck is there? How do I get viewers? how do I get someone to come in here? I don't get it. So I was like, you know what? I gotta do something crazy. I gotta do something that no one else is doing. I'm in a solo squad. So that's actually how I started solo squatting. I did it in super people, but
Mm.
instead of doing 1v no, it's 1v4s because they didn't have a trio mode. I was like, holy fuck, this is hard in this game. So I'm like, okay, let's do 1v2s. So I did 1v2s, and occasionally, little by little, like some duos would pop in and they'd be like, damn, man, like you killed both of us. What the hell? But normally they would never follow. They would just like come in, say GG, and leave, and I'd never see them again. So I'm like, okay, well, okay, maybe this isn't the best way of doing it. So unfortunately, at that time, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna hang it up. I think I'm done trying to stream for the moment. But there was always like something in the back of my head. I'm like, I'm pretty sure like I can at least have like some success with this because I just
Mhm.
constantly talk to myself whenever I play games. I have no shame. I can admit this. I can admit this 100%. Like whenever I am like alone or whatever, I always talk out loud. It's how I think, it's how I process things. And whenever I'm gaming, I'm just like constantly talking. I'm just constantly talking whatever's on my brain in the game. Doesn't matter. Like that's just what I've been doing that since I was like a little kid. So I was like, I feel like I like, you know what I mean? It's not hard for me to play a game and talk at the same time.
Mm.
So I'm like, I want to try it, but I'm like, you know what? I probably got to wait for like the right game or whatever.
Yep.
Thankfully, the fucking not even the right game, the perfect game, the best game ever fucking made came out. Thank you, Tear Bear. Thank you so much for gracing us with this best game ever made. Dark and freaking darker. Oh my god, dude.
So how'd you
And
find it? Who turned you on to it?
oh man, okay. I know I played in the very first playtest that wasn't the invite only one, right?
Okay, so that would have been the end of September then 2022.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
And my buddy, my best friend of 25 years, his name's Mike. He messaged me. He's like, "Hey, this looks like multiplayer Skyrim. We're big Elder Scrolls fans." Um, and I was like, "Okay, like it looks kind of scuffed, but like I guess I'm down. Like multiplayer Skyrim, of course we gotta try that." And we ended up playing it, and it is like the most fun we've like ever had playing a game. I was crying so hard from laughing. So okay, this is gonna be so hard to describe. I wish I still had the clip. Okay, do you remember the spiral staircase room that has like the 10 different entryways? There's a bunch of death bats, there's a wraith, and then like the doors below that have a champion and a couple more death bats.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
I swear. Okay, that room used to be different in playtest 1 or 2 or
Oh yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Yes. So it was just like a dark pit down there.
Yep.
And my friend, like he just drops down there accidentally, and he just starts screaming. He just sees all these fart zombies, these fart clouds, and there's like 10 floor traps down there. And he's just screaming. He has no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going on. We don't know how to take out our torch. So like, okay, I'll come down there and help you, man. And then he just dies, and then I die, and like he gets mad, right? He's like, oh my god, like I had a good item, fucking hell. And I'm just losing my mind. That was like our first match ever. We immediately requeued. So much fucking fun.
So how many hours do you think you got in that first playtest?
Barely 5 or 6 hours.
Same
that was
here.
it.
I got like 4. I found it when it had 4 hours left, and I played the whole 4 hours.
Yep, same. Like I yeah, like that basically was us too. We were so sad when it was over. We're like, okay, well, fuck, man. All right, I guess that's it. And I played as a fighter, and he was a fighter. Probably both times we both used our second wind accidentally. And then playtest 2 came around. Excuse me. And I was trying to think like, okay, what class do I really want to play? And I was thinking, what made me pick Ranger back then, I was thinking like, okay, there's probably a ton of boomers playing this game. I could probably just play Ranger and just FPS gamer, that like the most of the people that I come across. And like just from that moment, I just kept doing it and just kind of kept vibing more and more with the Ranger class. And then there where it really started to heat up, like at that time I was like decent or whatever, but it didn't really seem like I was anything like insane. Like at that moment, it wasn't like I could tell like, oh my god, like I feel like I have like unlimited potential in this game. Until my friends got off. My friends were like, they wanted to go to bed, and this would have been the tail end of 2022, right? Yeah, tail end of 2022. And that was by far the worst year of my life, like by far. So I actually had quit working at Good Life, or sorry, yeah, I good. Well, obviously it's late. I quit working my job at Good Life to go do it on my own. And then my whole business went under after I tried doing it on my own. The person that I was renting from just kept increasing the rent. It drive me fucking insane. And then I also had some personal issues during that time with my significant other. And then so that ended. I lost my job. So I was just broke, alone, and my god, it was like the worst time of my life. So all I had was like dark and darker. Like that was it. And my friends got off, and I didn't have shit to do. I had nothing to do. So I'm like, fuck it, let's keep going. And I'm like, I was like kind of nervous. Like, like I'm by myself in the dungeon. There was only trios then.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There was no solo in playtest 3, right?
No.
Right.
No. But I'm like, I gotta keep playing, man. I want to keep playing. So I queue up for my very first solo trio game, and some fucking how I wipe a squad 1v3. And if anybody has seen any of my older stuff, I'm in the Hell Shrine room with the very narrow bridges and all the mining nodes and like the little spiky pyramids and stuff like that. That it was in that room. And the very first time I solo queued, and we got a squad wipe, and from that moment onwards, I was hooked. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" That was the most exhilarating moment I've ever had in gaming. And then from that point, it just kept fucking going. And then I just kind of kept like recording YouTube videos. Just kind of kept recording squad wipes. I had a really bad computer, which is why I didn't stream. Why I didn't stream Dark and Darker, because I was getting 60 FPS without streaming. And that was on lowest settings, min-maxing every option on my computer and stuff like that. So I just record videos or whatever. And then I was like, the playtest ended, and like there was that really like the dark times, the hold the line. And I was like, fuck it. I'll just upload a Ranger clip every day until we get another play test or early access or whatever it was.
Yep.
And then what ended up happening is it went on for like a long time. I had no idea how many clips I had at the time. I didn't count them. I was just like, I probably got like 50 or so. And then we ended up getting to like day 60 or something like that. And then we got the other play test. And then people were like, hey man, you should stream. Like, there's no point in not streaming. So I was like, fuck it. And I started streaming. And then I guess kind of like the rest is probably history at that point.
The rest is history. So that would have been April, May-ish time frame, right? So April was when we had the BitTorrent playtest.
My God, I still can't believe that was a thing.
Yep. So that gap from February to April, so that would account for your 60 days. And I do remember seeing that, and I didn't know who you were at the time, truth be told, but I was on the Reddit like everybody else all the time. And I remember seeing those posts, and by the time you got to date, and I would click on them probably every other one, and by the time you got to like 30 days, I was like, my God, how many people has this guy killed? Like he's got to be running out of these things.
Yeah.
And I was just shocked when you made it to just before. I know you started crowdsourcing clips and things at the very end. And I don't think that was for lack of kills. It was probably for lack of footage or just lack of available time to play the game. Obviously, we only had like little 1 week stints to play. So it's like, how much could you actually expect at that point? That was a very interesting time in the old history of Dark and Darker. That's for sure.
Yeah, very nostalgic, honestly. Like,
No doubt.
obviously it sucked that we didn't have access to the game and stuff, but like oh my God, I still post on the Reddit. I still read the Reddit, but like I miss the way how everyone was just so unified.
Yep.
Back when like we were just holding and stuff like that. Like everybody was just looking forward to the game so much. And like I miss like how positive people used to be in the space and for the game and stuff. Like 100%. I know that just because like people complain and stuff like that doesn't mean that like they hate the game or whatever. But it just the way that people go about it, I personally don't think is the right way. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, you're not wrong.
I don't know.
No, there's a certain way to go about constructive criticism and feedback, and I feel like the vast majority of gamers take the non-correct way to go about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're wrong there. But to get back to the solo squatting thing, so you got into that and you're posting all these clips. You're obviously only playing Ranger, which you are probably the only streamer out there, almost certainly the only streamer out there that only plays Ranger, and you play an actual volunteer subclass of Ranger, which is a two-bow Ranger, aka Archer. So did you always play like that, or did that evolve over time?
Okay, what I have to give you kudos. I love your wording in the description. The apex of archery and the emperor of endowment. Oh my dude, that slaps. Holy, I might steal that. That's crazy.
I'll try to think of some more little alliterative titles for you in my spare time. But dude, yeah,
go for it. You're good at it, dude. I'll take that. That's a sick title. I think in playtest 2, when I was playing with my friends, I would use longbow spear. I think I was actually recently looking back at some really old clips. Like pretty often I had a longbow spear, but I had this moment. I remember thinking about this. I'm like, why the fuck do I even bring the spear? I never use it. I would like the spear was a cosmetic spear. I would never use it, even though it was on my back. So I just started thinking, like, what can I start, using to help this, especially for solo squads? Because again, even back in playtest 2, I had the exact same mindset of like, if I'm 1v3 and they get close enough to melee me, that's bad. Like that's never gonna be good. So actually in playtest 2, I was using longbow survival bow, and pretty much playtest. I was using that all the way up until I think playtest 5, and then in playtest 5, I started dabbling with the crossbow.
Okay. When did the role playing come about for you?
Oh my god. Okay, so the role play stuff, it's so hard for me to decide if I like the solo squad stuff more or if I like the role play stuff more. Like I can't decide. They're neck and neck. The role play stuff came from an inspiration from Germa 9A5. He I might even need to watch that tonight. I think I have to watch it again tonight. So Germa is a massive streamer on Twitch. He's basically like one of the greats. Like when you talk about who's one of the greats on Twitch, he should be mentioned. I think I don't know how many followers he has, but he always has like 20,000 viewers whenever he goes live and stuff like
Damn.
that.
Okay. All right.
And he played Dark and Darker. He's a very casual gamer. He's not, he's not a sweaty gamer. He's very casual. And he tried out Dark and Darker, and he just naturally started role playing with the VoIP. And he would just do this like goofy wizard who doesn't really understand anything and whatnot. I can't describing it. I can't do it justice. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, like our RP looks like super fun in this game. So I was like, fuck it. I guess I'll try it, because there were times where I wanted to play Dark and Darker, but the only way that like I can enjoy the game sometimes is 1v3. And I'm not trying to say like the other facets of the game aren't like good or don't deliver. It's just like once like 1v3s become like a normal thing, like the normal gameplay just doesn't compare sometimes. Just in comparison. So I was like, what can I do to like relax on this game, but still really enjoy my time? But then also, like, I didn't really like the idea of doing like solo high rollers back then, because I needed that gear to 1v3.
Right.
So it was like this really weird debate in my mind. So I was like, okay, well, let's just try goofing off and using the VoIP. And I don't know how else to describe it than that, but I just started doing it and just kept doing it, and it just evolved into what it is now. And I absolutely love that they added the lizard skin, because I love that. Probably my favorite RP segment is the human assassination.
Yep.
Like just all races versus humans. That definitely is my favorite one. 100%.
That one is fantastic. And for as long as I've watched your stream, which is definitely 4 or 5 months, maybe 5 months. I mean, right around when the game came out, formally in EA, which would have been August, right? So we're pushing 5 months. For the longest time, I didn't even know that you did an RP thing. Like I'd watch a handful of videos. There was so much content that was floating around out there. And of course, I'm trying to do my own thing. So I never catch all the content that I want to catch, but I would definitely watch like the solo squad things. I'd tune into Twitch every now and then, but I didn't even know you did the RP at all until maybe 2 months ago. And the first time I saw it, I was absolutely dying laughing. I sent it to I sent links to those videos to at least 4 or 5 of my buddies, IRL buddies who don't play the game a lot. And every one of them watched it and texted me back and was like, that dude is funny. That is some good stuff. These guys are all D&D nerds, so they certainly appreciate it. But man, not to like sniff farts too much here, but dude, like you absolutely kill it in that. And if you ever, whatever reason, move on from Dark and Darker to something else, there is certainly a seat for you at a dungeon master table, a la Matt Mercer somewhere, because you definitely have a knack for it, for sure.
That sounds really cool. I've never tried Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm sure I would. My friend group, they're not huge into that. Like there's probably some that would really like it and some that wouldn't. So I might have to try to venture out for that. But yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that the RP has gone as well as it has. And I could definitely tell that it catches people off guard that I do it, right? Because one of the reasons one of the reasons why I think, I don't know, maybe it's just like weird to say out loud, but one of the reasons why I think that it's been going as well as it has been on Twitch for me is because we do like super, super sweaty gameplay, but it's not like a traditional super sweaty like stream vibe.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Um,
No, you have a good mentality towards it. If you die, it's just like, oh, dead. We go again. And
yeah.
like you almost never get tilted or mad, frustrated. Like the vibe of the stream is always extremely upbeat. So yeah, I
Mhm.
think I would agree with you in that respect. I think that's kind of unique for the super sweaty streams. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's why Wilson's game is probably my favorite Dark and Darker
Did you watch
streamer.
him last night or was it the night before? When was it?
I try to watch him every night, but he streams so fucking late that God, I swear again. He streams so late that I always fall asleep to his stream. It's like put to sleep with his stream on, but I always catch like the first like hour of it or so. But yeah, I really like how like whenever he dies, like it's not this big deal or whatever. I
Mhm.
just can't stand it when people like scream at their screen whenever they die. Like it just like I understand like people are passionate and stuff like that, but like I don't know. I don't know if it's because like I'm 30 or I worked in game dev or what. I just cannot get mad at video games anymore. I don't know what it is. I think thankfully that's nice because I feel like it's made me a
That's a
better
good thing.
player.
Yep.
But still,
Absolutely.
it's like oh my gosh. Wait, somebody asked a very good question in the chat. Should we talk
Is it
about
Baz?
handouts?
Oh,
Yep.
shoot. I didn't even see that. Well, Babs has got one too,
Oh, okay.
which
Sorry, I didn't see
is
that one.
do you have any aspirations? So this is kind of one of those don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby type questions, but
Mhm.
um what aspirations would you have for potential other games? Let's say Hell Freeze is over, we lose Dark and Darker. What other potential games might you branch out into?
Yeah, so I think the thing that I'd like to make clear is like I will always, as long as it allows me to, Dark and Darker will always be like pretty much the only game I'd ever play or stream. So like since Dark and Darker has come out in early access, what 5 months ago, right? Yeah, 5 months ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I have not played another video game. The
Same.
only
Same
other
here.
game
I uninstalled
right
all the rest of them. I did. I uninstalled everything
exactly.
else. Yeah.
Exactly. To be honest, the only other game I played was like 3 hours of Lego Fortnite with my friends. That was it. So I'm going to be streaming Lego Fortnite. No. So would I like to stream other games? Like not right now, but like I'm sure. Like I've watched a lot of Twitch. Like I've been on Twitch, I think since 2011 or maybe 2012 or something like that. And pretty much I've noticed that every streamer who gets successful does the same thing. They blow up because like one game or one thing in
Mhm.
particular, and then
Right.
whenever that game runs its course, they bring that audience elsewhere. And that's probably what I'll do. Knock on wood that things keep growing at the rate that they are, because it's crazy to me that things are still growing. Um, yeah, but for right now and for definitely the foreseeable future, it's just Dark and Darker. It's the only game I care about. It's the only game I play, and the game is just continually to get better and better. So I, I don't know. I think that's a really good question, like from Bevs, but I can't even picture myself streaming another game. Now that being said, Dark and Darker did go down, and I did stream BattleBit. Like
Oh yeah,
while I don't know if you
during the update. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was okay, but again, it didn't even remotely compare to how much fun I have streaming or playing Dark and Darker.
Right.
So, the
Right
answer
on.
for now would definitely be no, but in the future, yeah, I could see myself maybe, at the end of streams, maybe playing some other games, maybe, but that would be like so down the line. Like all I care about is Dark and Darker right now. That's it.
Amen. Amen to that.
Mhm.
So I think I know which topic you wanted to chat about, but maybe we can kind of naturally work that in here.
Mhm.
Over the last, 13, 14, let's say 15 months since you first started playing, what is your favorite change that they've made to the game?
Oh, geez. Okay, I'm really bad at like for some reason I have like a really good memory, but then a really bad memory for like information with stuff like that. My favorite change that they've made to the game. The first, I don't think this is my favorite change, but it's the first one that comes to mind. So I guess I'll say it. I really like how the lobbies are broken from normal and high roller right now. I really like that experience.
Yep.
Like I like that like want to sweat if I want to bring in gear, I go high roller. Well, actually, technically, even normals are fucking sweat. I swear again, normals are still sweating as well with how they how those matches play out. I
Hmm.
really like that change. I know a lot of like people who are big into content like really don't like normal matches, and I find it really weird. I don't know if that's because like they're always rolling in like these like Titan squad of threes, they're always rolling with like, rank 1, 2, and 3, you know what I mean? So like if they go into a
Hmm.
normal lobby, it's like just not enjoyable for them. But doing
Right.
like solo squads and normals is so much fun. It's so much
But
fun. Like
yeah.
like being able to do like a little bit of goofy RP alongside the squad wipes is really, really good. And then I really like how, in high roller, like the teams that I come across, if I wipe a team in high roller, it's always going to be a good clip because like they have some level of competence.
Right.
I do like that, and they have some level of gear because that was one of the that was one of the things that was kind of like crappy before with like solo squatting in the normal lobbies when they weren't separated. It's like sometimes I would solo squad and then it'd just be a team with uniques, and I'm like, okay, what the hell? And then but the majority of the time there would just be like literally naked Timmies, right? And it's like, oh
Hmm.
wow, I got a 1v3 squad wipe, but a guy was staring into the wall the whole time. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So it's like, okay, I can't even use that in like a video or whatever, or really be proud of it. Um, so I really like the state that the game is in. Any ranger nerf, I unironically really like. Hate, I hate when ranger is strong. I want them to nerf ranger, and I really feel like people think that's like a joke or a meme or something. The worse that ranger is, as long as they don't hard nerf the trap, which I think the recent change they did to the trap is perfectly fine and good. I think that's a really good change. Um, the worse that ranger is, the better, because the worse that ranger is, there's less rangers in the map. That means more people to chase me, more people to hit my traps, and then also less, like ranger cleric setup where I have to hit the ranger 5 times for every 2 times he hits me, right? Because he gets healed
Right.
or
Right.
whatever. But for like one change in particular, it's so hard. Dang, I really don't know. Like, there isn't anything that jumps out to me. Like, I don't know if
Okay.
it's because I just like so many things, but there isn't anything that jumps out to me.
Well, maybe the
Yeah.
opposite is easier. What's your least favorite thing that they've changed about the game in the last 15 months?
Okay, I have to get at least one answer here. So let me what is your least favorite? Let me cook in my brain for a little bit.
Um, well, the least favorite thing that they've done, they've already reverted, which is when they were doing the +3 madness on like everything. Basically,
Mm,
during that time, I think it was August, September, where the whole community was fairly unified in this idea. It's one of the few things that they have been unified about at getting the casual and new player into a state where they actually want to keep playing the game, right? And that was right
yeah.
around the time normal high roller or normal common only gear and below separation was coming about. It was right around that
Hmm.
time. But yeah, they maxed out like the amount of +3 all that you could get was absolutely insane.
It
And
was.
I couldn't believe that they did that. And they in Iron Mace fashion, they reverted the change. They listened, they saw the data or combination of both, and they changed it. So that's fine.
Mm.
That's the number one thing. I'm sure I could probably think of a thing or two that's worse than that, but off the top of my head, I can't at the moment. Other than, I mean, the bard nerfs were the first mega bard nerfs were pretty tough.
Damn it, you took mine. That's what
that was your favorite, right?
Be.
That's
the
your
least,
favorite.
least favorite. My
least?
God.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay, not so much the nerf, but when bards were movement speed buffing their team to like 450 move speed, I couldn't even dream to wipe that squad. Like
right.
it. Oh my God. Like they hit my trap and then it just didn't matter. They were in and out of it, in and out of it, in and out. They could hit like all 6 of my traps that I had set up. I could land every shot. Doesn't matter. That stupid bard is just playing that Song of Tranquility and moving speed buffing them, and they all just run. Oh man, that was so bad. Honestly, to this day, okay, I never really care about like matchups with other classes and stuff like that, or if like a team has like certain compositions when I'm solo squatting. But when I see a bard, I legitimately do feel like slightly uncomfortable from how bad that used to be. Like it's like
it was awful.
It
was so overpowered. Yeah, that whole buff ball meta with bard and their ability to trank and move speed buff everyone was just absurd. So they did need some nerfs, but they went mega nerf on the bard, and that made bard really, really painful for a hot second. But I actually did think of my favorite overall change while you were saying that. So I main cleric. Basically, I'll play any class with a spell wheel, right? If it's got a spell wheel, I'll play it. And I've also dabbled in ranger and fighter, and I think both those classes are fine. The 2 classes I do not play, I have never queued into a raid as a barbarian, and I am so anti-rogue at this point, I refuse to play rogue. I did for a hot second before rogue was being abused. Like in playtest 4 and 5, I think I had rogue characters because I wanted to get every class to 20 except for barbarian because I had such a bad taste in my mouth with barbarian, and that archetype has never really appealed to me that much anyway. So
I have to know, not to cut you off, I have to know what is it about the barbarian?
I don't know, dude. I really don't know. Like in D&D, I always played magic related classes, and the big dumb barbarian was always the one in the group that was screwing up whatever crafty or sophisticated thing we were trying to do. And I love that other people like to play them because I do think that archetype needs to be around. It's just not my bag at all. So I have less hate for the barbarian than I do the rogue. I hate the rogue way more than I hate barbarian, but I have no desire to play it. So yeah, anything with the spell wheel. Therefore, my favorite change that they've made was when they made it viable to sit and rest and regen spells. So as a cleric for the longest time, if you couldn't afford campfires, and they used to be pricey back in the day, if you weren't sweating nonstop and building up a nice little cache of money, that was a complete game changer for me. Like just being able to recover spells while resting was it. So that is my favorite change. There it is.
Wait, so what did clerics do when clarity pots weren't in the game?
Nothing.
And
you had a campfire or nothing. You were screwed. So the entire raid, you're just worried to death about using your spells at the wrong time because it's basically like a skill at that point, like a second wind. Like you get one chance on your second wind, and that's it for the whole raid. And your spells felt the same way until campfires started. I don't know if campfires always regen second wind. I don't feel like they always did. I could be wrong about that because I don't play that much fighter.
That's recent.
But yeah,
that's recent, I think.
Yeah, okay. So the stress was real, like all the time. It made cleric very, very stressful. Jeez. As a solo, especially when you didn't have money for campfires, it was brutal.
Yeah. Oh, I thought about my favorite thing. I actually think it's probably not as impactful as it would seem to most people, but it's definitely something that jumped out to me. I love the static exits. Because that helps me in 1v3s so much. Like if it wasn't for static exits, I think 1v3s, like surviving them, not like necessarily wiping the squads, but surviving them would be, oh my God, like so more difficult with how much knowledge people have of the game now and stuff. Like those statics, whether it be red or blue, go absolutely crazy.
Yep.
But they're such a good addition of the game.
Yeah, that's
a
close second for me. I agree
100%
100% on that. Yep.
And they even said it themselves. They fit in wonderfully. Like when that was added, there was no like, what the hell is this? What's this doing in my dark and darker? Like it's just like boom, it's there, it's good, it's permanent. That was an
Yep.
awesome change. And then even recently, much more finer details. But then when you stand up from a rest, you don't lose,
You're
that
rested, you're
recoverable
recoverable.
HP.
Right.
Like, I understand the game's like hardcore and like needs to be punishing at certain times, but that just felt like shit. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like it just felt
Absolutely.
bad. And then
Yep.
thank God we were talking about this recently, me and you. The fact that you don't have to buy single bandages and have like insane
Yeah.
levels of copium, whether you're hitting the button or not, you can just buy 3 at a time.
Yep.
Thank you, Tear Bear. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh man.
QOLW right there.
Yeah.
That was a very nice little win.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about
There-
the past. How do you feel about the future of our Dark and Darker? I'm sure you're tuning in to, of course, you're tuning in to the HTL pod, but also you're tuning in tuning in to the Darkest Hour podcast, where they most recently had your buddy and best friend, Tear Bear, and SDF, both SDF's first live appearance. Out of all the things they talked about, and even going into past conversations, so I mean, you can draw on anything that Iron Mace has put out there in a dev Q&A or interview. What are you most excited about on the game's proverbial roadmap at this point?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be kind of like a boring answer. I actually think Druid is probably the thing that I'm the most excited about because it's gonna be the first class other than Ranger that I'm actually gonna try to get good at. So
Really?
yeah. So I don't care about any of the other classes because they've just been in the game so long. But I'm gonna try Druid. I'm gonna see if you can solo versus squad on him. I imagine it'll be difficult as hell. Okay, I'm not trying to say for anyone who's like listening and be like, oh wow, he thinks he can solo squad on Ranger, he can just do it on Druid. Like I'm sure it's gonna be hard as hell, but I do want to try it. And then maybe what it'll even be is like Druid is like my solo 1v1 character, and then Ranger's my 1v3 character or something like that. But yeah, I don't really have like a desire to play any of the other existing classes. Like there's always like a little bit of me that wants to play Wizard that thinks I'd be good at it with just like how many options and stuff, that are there for it. But I don't actually care enough to try it. But I think with Druid, I really do want to. And then like, just like the new map and like that's I love the maps in the game, how they like force PvP. Obviously, that works great for me, who's like just trying to play the game to kill players and whatnot. But I think having a map like the Frost Cave, where there's just it's this huge cave. Like if you look at the screenshots of that thing, like it looks like you can travel for like 30 minutes and not see a single other player, other than like you peek out a little hole like in the mountain or whatever, and then you see another guy with his torch like 200 meters away or something. Like that's how the map looked to me, like a very very spaced out map.
It looks like it's going to be big. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that could be really cool to feeling more like actual dungeon diving. So when you find other players, like it's kind of scary. Because like right now, it kind of feels like you find other players and it's just par for the course. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
there's other players, whatever. Obviously, if you're like, you're grinding leaderboards and stuff, oh my god, if I die here, I lose AP or whatever. Oh my god, I lose my gear. But I think with just like how prevalent it is, like you're always kind of ready for it. But then on the new map, with like it being that spaced out, like I think it'll feel really, really cool. Obviously, it'll be a different experience. Like, like PvP has become a staple. Oh my god. I kind of need to rant a little bit. So I've been grinding high roller for the first time with the intention to rank up. So I've been playing solo high roller, and in one weekend I've gone from Wanderer whatever, like a middle green rank to Voyager 1. And then I'm hoping to get Exemplar before tomorrow morning. I've never cared about leaderboards, but for whatever reason, after their latest podcast, I was like, you know what? I at least want to get the reward, so I'm just gonna get demigod really quick, and then I'll just never play it again, or at least until the next season or whatever. It is crazy how many people are just permanently friendly. Like, oh my god! Like, I'm the opposite, right? I want to kill every person that I come across. I have the screenshot. I got 37 kills in solo high roller before dying, and then I did die after getting that. And I think right now I'm like 55 kills and 2 deaths right now at
Jeez.
Voyager 1. But like, dude, there's even people who like they'll come towards me and they'll have their arms up in the air, like, "Hey man, you friendly?" And I'll be like, "No." I'm like, "I want to fight." And they're like, "Oh, well, if you want to fight, you can just kill me, man." And I just shoot them in the head with the windlass. I'm like, "Sure, man." Like, what do you? Oh my god! Like, maybe I'm an asshole or something, but it's like I don't do that every time. Like, if there's someone who sounds like really really nice, normally I don't do that. But it is crazy. It's crazy how many people just want to be friendly in the dungeon.
Yep.
So, oh man, like I don't even know. This is like all over the place, but I don't think that the leaderboards are like a representation of like skill in the slightest. I
In
think
their
it's just like,
current form, no,
yeah,
it's all about how to rap. Not all. I mean, if
mm,
you watch some of the guys, the staples of the streaming community, so the Jays, Kens, Sobads, Repose, etc., and there's a lot of
mm,
others, but those are the first four that come to mind. Like those guys are out there, they're sweating, right? Like they're going
mm,
down, they're bossing, they're wiping players almost every time they have the opportunity to team fight, and they're team fighting against other players that are equally as sweaty with equally good crazy gear,
mm,
and they're not just running off into the corner and taking statics to get out, right? Like
yeah,
that though, running into the corners and taking statics to get out is how I think the majority of the people rank up, because I know it's
oh
the
yeah,
way, that is the way as a solo cleric you almost have to. So it depends on your
mm,
class too, right?
yeah,
There are certain classes that are certainly optimized for being able to fight in solo high roller. Cleric is not bad. I mean, we're not, as a class, we're certainly not in a bad state, but our options for disengage are limited, and
mm,
we have no range. So I get an opportunity for 4 holy strikes, and if you're not dead at the end of that and you're a wizard or a ranger, you win. You
yeah,
know, it's that's pretty much it. Or if it's a barb with a inventory full of throwing axes, or a fighter. So there's 4 of the classes, and if you're a rogue, you can just, dodge in and out and beep bop scat your way around and eventually just stab me to death. So there's 5 of the classes right there. So I'm appropriately matched up with other clerics when I'm playing high
yeah,
roller. That's about it. So yeah, I know there are a lot of classes though that, or players more accurately, that because of their class, they're just going to go into high roller and they're going to find the ideal, the meta route to get the best loot with the least confrontation and get the heck out and get that AP. So
mm,
I'm with you, man. It is, the leaderboard is not a true representation of skill at the moment, at least of the skill of being the best at combat. Let's say
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think that's a really good way of putting it, because I think I do have to admit that with the game that Dark and Darker is, the fact that it's a looter extraction game, technically, yeah, I think the leaderboard is a really good indication of someone's overall like game skill and knowledge, but like you
Mm-hmm.
said, just not PvP mechanical
Correct.
skill, how good
Agreed.
they are.
Yeah.
Which which I know a lot of people have complained about. I have no issue with that though. I have no issue with that. Personally, I might even get a little bit of flame for this. I do not think Dark and Darker is a competitive game. Coming from somebody who's played competitive games for like my whole life, like Dark and Darker is not a competitive game. It is a hardcore and challenging game, but it's not a League of Legends. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
CS:GO. Like
Yeah.
it's, you know what I mean?
It is not an
So
esport, but it is
yes.
more entertaining to watch than an esport is, in my
Yep.
humble opinion. I
Yep.
think
Yep.
it is the most fun game to watch, most fun game I've ever played, and it is hands down the most fun game I've ever watched.
Yeah. Yeah. Like every match you watch like tells a story, which I think is really, really cool. I really, I can really see Dark like blowing up on Twitch. Like I really can. Like once the game comes out on Steam or Twitch drops or something like
Mm.
that,
Yep.
like I can really see it because like it has that battle royale storytelling experience that people really look for in a Twitch experience,
Mhm.
but it has more than that too. Like it's much deeper than that. And I think like the game itself is a very like intimate, like grueling game. And the fact that it's also like funny too, like it's goofy, it's challenging. It's just the best god. It's the best game ever made. It just there needs to be. Why are more people not playing this game? Why are more people not watching this game? We
It's
gotta get
because
this
of
bad boy
Steam,
on
man.
Steam.
Yeah. Once
Oh
it's on
man,
Steam, the sky is the limit for
yeah.
sure. Well, hey, I want to circle back to Druid real quick before we wrap things up here. What is it about Druid? Like, are you thinking in the back of your mind, number one, your opportunities for RP, I think, are fantastic.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh
Your
my god.
RP is depending on how many different animal forms you can have. Oh my, like I just think that's, especially if you can VoIP while you're in animal form, it's gonna be
I'm sure you
fantastic.
could.
Oh my gosh. That just sounds incredible. But then from a squad wiping perspective, the first thing that came to mind was that the Druid might be the first class other than Ranger that is going to have a legitimate ensnare type of capability.
Yep.
And you could argue that Cleric has bind, but it's 0.75 seconds. That's not a snare. That's a pause, like a micro pause button that interrupts. It's an interruption mechanic. It's not a snare. So,
dude,
yeah, is that where your head's at? Sorry, that's my long-winded way of saying. Is that where your head's at? Is it because of the ensnare entangle mechanic? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Really quick about the Cleric. I have only been hit by one bind in my whole time playing. I play this game every day, and I've only been hit by one bind, and like I had no idea what happened to me, and it was also so insignificant that I like I didn't even care. Like even when it caught me off guard, when I didn't ever know what it was or seen what it did, it still had no effect to me. Like
Right.
that's how bad that ability is.
Yeah. The time it takes me to cast it is more than the effect of the spell. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, that's awful.
I don't want it to be OP, and I'm sure they did some testing on this at some point, but like 2 seconds might be maybe too much. Like someone rooted for 2 seconds is a lot. But maybe you try like a second of like 1.25, because 0.75 is doing nothing to nobody.
I could see that
90% of the time. 90% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that working really well in duos if it was over a second. I could see that.
Yeah.
For why Druid. Okay, so for why Druid, honestly, main reason because he's new. Like that.
Okay.
That is just the main reason because he's new and whatever. I'll just try it. And I'm pretty sure, like even from like a Twitch perspective, I know people like watching. They like watching what I do with the 1v3s. I think I'm at this point. I think I'm the only person who's doing it and consistently wiping squads. Like I know there's other people who do 1v3s, but I'm not too sure how often they actually do wipe squads. So like I know people like that and stuff like that, but just to mix it up, you know, that is the main thing. You know, it's something different. It's not Ranger. You know what I mean? Right. But yeah, with the ensnare, that was where the idea came from, right? So with the different forms, I was kind of wondering, this is my thought process, if you'd be able to like switch forms between kills. Right? I'm not saying like a kill puts it on or off cooldown. I'm just saying like, let's say I ensnare as a human, and then while that, you know, first guy is ensnared, Like maybe I like focus the squishy, or I fight their first guy or whatever who I ensnare, and then like I switch to cat form or rat form and then reposition. It'd basically be like an extremely long-winded version of a normal like ranger squad wipe. Like I think it'd be harder because I think there'd be more layers to it. But that's basically like what my idea was behind it. Like get a kill, like rotate as a different form, switch back to a human, try to isolate another 1v1, ensnare again when it's off cooldown, switch to bear, switch to rat, like you know what I mean? Like that was the idea that I had. But I think honestly what will probably happen, if I had to be honest, is I'll just keep doing 1v3s on Ranger, and then Druid will be like my solo like HR climb character, you know what I mean? Where we'll hit demigod on Druid or something like that. I guess I don't get the rewards on Ranger if I do that though. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I think I do. I think I do want to dabble for sure in Druid quite extensively.
Well, they have other classes on the roadmap as well. We know Sorcerer is coming, Paladin, Artificer. I think those have all been confirmed. Any of those pique your interest at all?
For sure. God, I can never pronounce it.
Artificer.
Artificer. I can't. I'm not good at speaking. Okay, Isser? Is that how you say
like
it?
an artifice? So artifice. Yeah, like
artificer.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So that guy, because basically he's just ranger with guns and probably no trap. You know what I mean? That's what I imagine that class to be. I don't know if is he a D&D class? That
is.
Guy?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you can look him up. I had thought, so I've never played an artificer ever, but I thought he was more of an illusionist type. All right, I'm on the wiki now. Let's see. Artificers use ingenuity and magic to unlock extraordinary capabilities in objects. So
Wait, I thought he was a gun guy.
No.
What the? I've been lied to. I've been deceived, bamboozled.
So
right,
let's look at
for the rest of the time.
There you go. Let's look at some of these spells. Man, these spells do not really tell the story. Wow. All right, what are the class features here? You start with 2 simple weapons. That doesn't help us much. I can't tell whether or not they're edged or not, but you do start with a light crossbow. There you go.
Okay.
Thieves' tools, Dungeoneer's pack. So at level 1, you've learned how to invest a spark of magic into mundane objects. So yeah, if I'm in my very short read here, if I'm understanding kind of the core of the class, and chat, you can keep us honest here if you do know this, but you're kind of like this hybrid, almost alchemist / object animator. So you would have the ability to like bring boxes to life maybe, or transmute them and transform them to do stuff for you, which may be kind of fun. But yeah, definitely no guns. No guns.
Yeah, see, that makes a lot more sense because there isn't guns in Dungeons and Dragons, is there?
Not the legacy versions, not the traditional versions. I'm sure there are spin-off campaigns, but yeah.
Okay, no, that makes more sense. Okay. Damn it. Okay, yeah. I don't know where I got that from. I was so certain of it, too.
Somebody in your chat was trolling you, and then everybody hopped on board.
I guess so. Oh, my God, man. Okay, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so it might just be like, okay, I guess sorcerer, right? Like, you know, just the wizard, but more damage, right? Less utility, more damage. You know, that's like almost, when you think about it, that's like the perfect, you know, 1v3 class or whatever.
Yeah.
Because again, the thing that matters for 1v3s is burst damage and speed. You know, and I'm sure the sorcerer will definitely have that. So maybe not so much the speed, but definitely
the burst damage. Yeah, you'll have that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So other than that, I think that would be like, obviously I'll try out every class as it comes out, you know, I wasn't interested at all in Warlock. I do have to be honest with that. Like when they put that one out, um, I've never been interested in Warlock whatsoever. I will say though, what I do find interesting is since doing the solo climb in HR, the class that I have to respect the most is Warlocks. I haven't died to one. I think that the two classes that I've died to was Barbarian. But that one was so for those who don't know, Ranger does have a natural debuff, and that's someone over VoIP saying, "Hey, let's kill this Ranger." And then everyone gangs up. So my first death after 37 kills was 1v3. And you think that I'm not saying that as an excuse. I 1v3 all the time, but that was my first death in solos. The barbarian was just like, "Hey man, fuck this Ranger, let's kill him." And then three people all gang up on me. So I had one death to a barbarian, and the other one was to a landmine rogue. But that was me being lazy. That wasn't even the landmine rogue being broken. I was resting on the ground waiting for the hell gates, and I didn't realize that there was a rogue above me, and he dropped down and just stabbed the shit out of me while I was sitting.
Oof,
That yeah,
feels bad.
But however,
So yeah, why the
despite,
Warlock? Why do you gotta respect the
yes.
Warlock so much?
So despite that I haven't died to them, I feel like I have to fight for my life whenever I fight one of those guys who's good, obviously. Like obviously if it's a bad warlock, then But the thing is with how I play Ranger, I play it like really around my traps, right? Like I always make sure I have a trap in front of me and a trap behind me, always at all times. The thing is with those damn warlocks, they just place their hydras in the natural darkness, and it just always goes on the trap. I don't know if that's like a inherent thing with like how hydra works, or if warlocks just so happen to place them in the darkness, but they always scale up and hit my damn trap. And then the warlocks, they'll just pop life drain on their hydra, and they'll heal, and I'll try breaking their hydra, but then I have to reload my bow. So the only thing that I've really been able to do against them is I have to play like super aggressive, super aggressive, and I just have to winless headshot them. If I winless headshot them, then they panic, and that's the only counter I've had to fighting them, or catching them off guard or in a trap or whatever. But then the problem is too, if they hit my trap, what do? They phantomize. So and then now that the trap has a less duration, by the time Phantomize is over, they're out of the trap. So they're actually probably the hardest class for me to kill. And actually twice I fought the rank 4 demigod. Me and him were actually talking in trade afterwards. I think his name's Gikamancer. I fought him twice today, or once yesterday, once today. The first time he actually almost killed me. He was almost my first death, but I ended up getting away. And then the second time I killed him. But both times, like I had to fight for my life against him. Like he played super well, and he just kept scaling up with those hydras. He just kept scaling up. He broke like 2 or 3 of my traps, just scaling up. And then thankfully he hit one trap, phantomized, and then he didn't expect the second trap. So it took 5 traps to kill the rank 4 fucking demigod. Not even rank 4 demigod like demigod warlock. Like there's the rank 4 demigod overall.
Right.
And he had to hit 5 traps to break him. Now all that being said, Ranger's OP because I never got hit once in that fight. so Ranger OP, but still, yeah, they're definitely the class that I feel like I have to respect the most. Maybe beyond that, maybe a barbarian with a lantern, like maybe because then obviously they see my traps. The only thing that I've been able to do to counter the barbarians with lanterns is I'll see that they start mimicking my jumps. So as they jump over my trap, I have to like 180 them and windlass them. So the slow from the windlass roots them down, and then they hit the trap. That's like the only counter that I've been able to do to those guys. Yeah, some barbarians like they're really good at W keying. Like I know that like that's a meme. Like that's a meme, like no brain W key, but some of them actually are really good at it. Like they put on really good pressure. So Yeah.
Well, I think we actually did not organically bring this up, and I want to give you your soapbox. Your soapbox. Let's talk about handouts to streamers, shall we?
Baby. Oh, baby. Do you want to
Please tell.
open the thoughts on it, or you want me to
I
go?
know your stance, and you are very consistent, and I think more people need to hear it. I would love for you to tell these good people how you feel about streamers. Now, I know you're going to add this caveat in, but I'm going to reemphasize what you're talking about or about to talk about is applicable for streamers that are trying to sweat and grind the leaderboard specifically or claim that they are the greatest at something, right? That's where this is especially applicable, but take it away. It is your soapbox.
Yeah. So when it comes to handouts, like just to be like transparent, like I just think it's cheating, like just straight up. You can say whatever narrative like you have for the game of like what makes a good player or what makes a win happen in a PvP fight. But I think undeniably, like gear does beat skill at a certain point in this game. So basically by accepting free gear, that's actually like, really good as most people do, they're receiving an unfair advantage. And it's not even like they're getting a free piece of gear from their friend, they're getting a free piece of gear from one of the 1,000 people in their chat. You know what I mean? And it's just constant. Like I'll occasionally pop into streams and I'll see it and I'm like, well, never watching this person again. There you go. So like I know that I have a very like harsh take on it or whatever, but just in my opinion, it's just cheating, it's shameless, and I don't understand it. And I don't like a lot of the people who are grinding leaderboards and stuff like that, like when they die, like there's no penalty other than the AP loss because they just get a set handed back to them from their chat or whatever. And like I can't say who or whatever, but there was a time where I was in someone's chat and they had somebody giving them handouts and somebody traded them 1250 gold, right? 1250 gold, which isn't like a substantial amount of gold or whatever. But the person receiving the gold, the streamer, never said a word, never said thank you. And then the viewer in chat, in the trade window said, sorry, this is all I can give. And like that was it. That was the engagement. And I just fucking rolled my eyes. I'm like, I cannot believe that this is happening right now. I'm just really passionate about because I think it's a bigger issue than people let on, because I don't have the largest audience. I would say over the past 3 months, I have like an average of 200 viewers or something. So I'm not the smallest either. But I don't feel like not accepting handouts has made my stream any less entertaining or anything like that. Like I think one of the biggest arguments that I hear is that people are like, oh, I don't want to sit trade and all that stuff. You know what I do? I just do it like off stream. Like if I ever need to sell stuff, I like sell stuff off stream. If I need to buy stuff, I can sometimes buy it off stream. That's how I do my traps. I farm for traps off stream, just to make sure that like the stream itself is like more enjoyable for the people. And I just don't think that it's just so fucking shameless, because you can't consider yourself the best at something if you have an unfair advantage. Like the way that I look at it, whether it's an ego take, whether I don't know, I think that I'm the best 1v3 player in the game. I don't know if I'm the best ranger. Maybe I'm the best solo ranger. I don't know. I don't play 3v3, so maybe you can't classify me as that. However, you definitely wouldn't be able to classify me that if I took free stuff from the chat, right? Because I have an altered, easier experience. I can no longer claim to be the best at something because I'm not having the true organic experience. Because like I can just think about it now. Like at least this is me. This is how I view it. If I wipe a squad of 3, let's say I get a handout. Let's say I get a handout from the chat and it's like this really good gear set, like 330 move speed, 120 HP. My win list is hidden for like 160 or something like that. I wipe a squad. is that my solo squad wipe? Is that chat's solo squad wipe? Because like
Right.
that gear contributes to me winning that fight. It
Absolutely.
absolutely contributes to it.
Yep.
So that's the thing that just really irks me. I I can't word this like exactly like how I would like, but like I just wish less people would do it, man, because it has more of an impact than people let on. And I think the reason why it bothers me so much, like is just because it would be such a hit to my pride to accept the free stuff. I don't know what it is. Like I've tried to talk about it with Wilson a little bit because we share like a similar approach on it.
Hmm.
It I just can't wrap my head around ever accepting handouts from other people. But I guess that being said, I'm really bad at accepting help from others. Like I always just do everything myself, like in all facets of life, because I just hate asking other people for help. So I don't know if it's like some sort of like weird like psychology wraparound when it comes to that or something.
That'll be
But
on the next episode. I'll put on my shrink hat. You'll lay down on the couch. We'll go through all the Freudian stuff, talk about how the
Ugh.
exclamation endowment started, and we'll link all
Oh
of
my
that
god.
together. And I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll all make sense at that point.
Yeah. But one thing I really wanted to say about the handouts is I really wish that Soma would have asked the devs. I was in his chat. I'll admit it. I was spamming the question. I was spamming the question for him to ask. And then he replied to me after like the 10th time I said it, maybe in the 15th time I sent it. And he said, I'm not asking that shit. That's what he said. And to
What was your
me,
question? What was your question?
my question was ask the devs what they think about streamers taking handouts.
Oh,
That's what I want to know.
okay. Well,
I feel like it was the right platform to ask it on. It's a podcast about Dark and Darker being hosted by streamers. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I think it'd be
they're not gonna take a position on that, man. They're not
ex,
gonna
ex,
they're
I
not gonna take a
understand.
position.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand that they're scared to have a position on that. I 100%. But I will say it. I'll say it here. If you take handouts, you're a pussy. That's my opinion of it. So again, it's an altered, easier experience of the game. So if you want to be a pussy and take handouts, you're totally game to do it. But I just think it's absolutely shameless. Again, if fucking God, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little passionate, so I'm starting to swear a little bit more. I'm sorry. If
You're
like
good.
Germa logs into the game, right? And he's like, hey, chat, and his chat trades him and whatever. It's like, who cares? He sucks at the
Right.
game. He's never gonna
Right.
play the leaderboards.
Yeah.
He's never
He's
gonna
not
do any of that.
right. He's not gonna put on his Twitch page rank 1 NA, rank 3
Yeah.
NA, crossbow
Yeah.
skelly victim,
Oh,
right? Like that's
yes.
not going on there.
Yes. And sorry, I finally remember. My brain, throughout the whole time of trying to explain that, finally wrapped around what I was trying to say. So, not even necessarily, it's not even like some sort of thing where I'm like so like just against streamers taking handouts. There's also like different levels of it too, with people exploiting like the leaderboards as well. Like people
Mhm.
who do leaderboard grindings also take handouts and stuff like that, right? Like they get people in the match who feed them, so they rank up the leaderboards more. So actually, when I was posting that message in Soma's chat, I actually realized that I worded it wrong. I should have asked for the stream. He wouldn't have answered it anyway. But I should have said for streamers, and then also the people who are exploiting leaderboards, because the leaderboards actually have like value to them now in the sense that there's rewards and such.
Right.
So
Right. Hey, let's piss off some more people while we're at it here.
sure, I love doing that.
How do you feel about alt accounts to mule gear around secondary accounts?
Oh, I think it's also kind of shameless. I mean, again, I don't know why I have such passionate, strict views as I do. Like, just play the freaking game, man. Like, just play the game. Like, it's just, I understand these people are making so much gold on the game or whatever. Like, I get it, man. But like, oh my god, the fencing, like where like you give someone else like money or gold and then they sell your gear for you.
Oh,
Like,
that's even a different topic. Now we're talking about like the
yeah,
Collectors Guild, and I love Lord
yeah.
Collector. If you're watching or watch at a later time, I have a ton of respect for what you've created and done, and I think he's a chill dude. And I've wanted to play with him actually because he's playing a lot more these days as well. So Like that is a completely separate topic, because I think that is definitely there is a large section of the player base that are using that. But no, let's just keep it to I saw a YouTube video today. I think it came out within the last 3 or 4 days, but a guy put up a video showing how to mule stuff back and forth between your two characters without having to have two different machines. And it's kind of funny because I was like,
okay,
what? This guy is teaching people how to mule stuff. Like I went into the comments, and sure as hell, man, people are like, so you literally made this video just to say buy a second account? And it was like, well, kind of, but no, he had a way of doing it where you could do it on a single PC, because the game doesn't want you to run 2 instances of the game at the same time. But if you run it in a certain order using 2 different, and I won't get into it because Iron Mace probably doesn't want this happening, but let's just say this video exists. And I was just cracking up like, dude, that problem, number one, I think they will address. I know SDF has been kind of, I guess he's leaning more towards not doing that, but they've always come around if there's enough of a demand for it. Like the stash tabs, for example. Like for the longest time, we only had 1 stash tab, huge outcry in the community. God. Now we can get up to 4. And getting to the first stash tab is not hard. A casual gamer could do it in 3 or 4 hours. You can have another stash tab. And then 10K, yeah, it's a little bit more effort, but if you actually go high roller at all, you spend a small amount of time in the trade chat, you can have enough money to get your 3rd stash tab.
Yep.
So at what point, like if you're that big of a player and you've got 4 stash tabs, 3, almost every legit streamer is going to have a minimum of 3, right? And most of them are going to get 4 because they're going to be down in hell so much. They're going to get the Centaur stuff eventually. How much freaking gear do you need? Do you really need to have the second account? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's an L take, but sounds like you're of the same opinion there.
Yeah, like I understand that there is some people who like play the game that much and succeed on it that much, right? And like they just don't die. Like I even heard like I popped into Ken's stream and he said that like him, who's he playing with? Promos and someone like they haven't died in like days or something like that.
Yeah.
So like I understand. Right? Like having like I'm not saying that they do that. I'm just saying like that situation exists for players like that.
Right.
So it does make me think, is it something that's necessary? Again, my take will always be it's not intended, so I will never do it. Right? It's like the same thing with like this is super niche, but those traps, you know, like you put the traps on top of arrows or something, and like it's like that weird trap tech where like it could I never did that because I just kind of said that like, oh, that's bullshit. I don't think that's intended, so I just never did it. Right. So I don't know. I have really weird takes. Again, I don't know if it's because like my time in like game dev or something, but I don't think I would ever have I don't think I would ever have like an alt account to trade with or like a fence or anything like that. I don't think I would ever do that unless it's like an intended thing within the game. I just won't do it.
Well, it does sound like based on that most recent conversation on the Darkest Hour that the auction house is very high priority. I think
dude,
that's going to be really, really nice.
That'll be good.
Yeah, there's just so much good coming, but I do want to end on a positive. Believe it or not, we're coming up on like an hour and 40 minutes already.
Oh, wow.
This, I don't know that I've ever asked this question before in any of these. And if it catches you off guard or you don't want to answer at risk of offending
I'll
anyone,
answer anything.
Be fun.
I'll answer anything.
So you can look at this question multiple ways, and I don't want to prompt you too much, but I'll say this. If you could only have 3 Twitch streams for Dark and Darker related content, who would you pick? Now, you're out, you could say, I'll give you the out, and I
Okay.
am saying too much. So just ignore everything I said. I'm saying too much. Your out could be that you would need 3 different streamers for 3 different types of content. So they might not even necessarily be your favorite 3. But if you could only have 3, which 3 streamers would you watch? You can't say
Would
yourself.
Okay, so that I would watch.
Yeah, Twitch streams that you would watch.
Well, first one is definitely Wilson's game.
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
100% Wilson's game. I think I actually I kind of enjoy when Spuddy gets mad. I have to admit, I love it when he gets mad. I really do. So I think I would have to say Wilson,
Spuddy.
Spud.
Yeah.
Oh geez, and this is just like that I would watch. It's not like it's not like if there was only 3 and then like only those are the only 3 to ever for anyone to choose from. It's like my 3, right?
Your 3 that only you.
Okay,
Yeah.
shit. One
Yeah.
more. Oh my god. Probably Ryan. I don't. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I don't catch Ryan because I think he streams at like some weird ass times.
He
but
doesn't stream that often. He's got a lot going on IRL, I think, as like
Yeah.
that's probably the primary reason. But yeah, I think he streams like once or twice a week. But if
Yeah.
he's still in the chat, he can keep us honest.
My I have his like his wording like just locked in my head. My gamer. He just says my gamer like all the time. So yeah, but definitely like Wilson. Like I can't like write it home enough. I love that man's stream. It has just such a nice cozy vibe. And every time he gets a kill, I love it. It's excited. I really like it. Can I give some like honorable mentions though?
Yes,
Is that,
please.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think what Jays did for the game is just crazy. Like that man is like streaming a lot. He's streaming like crazy. People love hanging out in his channel and stuff. I don't really watch Jay personally, but like I know that like other people just absolutely love his content. I mean, like he is right now the biggest Dark and Darker streamer, which is really cool. And someone that I noticed that's growing like crazy is Luffy Taro. I don't know if you'd want to do an interview with him ever. But yeah, dude, he's going for demigod on every class, and he's almost there, which is crazy.
Jeez.
And he has a pretty chill community, and his streams are always like pretty high energy, very like really high energy. I also love his follow alert. I know that's like really weird, but I'm not even like a One Piece fan, but it's like a One Piece notification, but it's just the most like addicting thing. Like I know when someone follows, sometimes other people will follow just to see the alert again. Almost similar to the can I tell the endowment story how that came to be?
Dude. Yeah, you should.
Okay. So there was he's not around in the community too much anymore. I think he just doesn't really play Dark anymore. But his name's Bill, and Bill just made the command for exclamation point endowed. So like people could just he got it from some other streamer. I don't know who he got it from, but you could just type exclamation point endowed and it just gives you a random size, right? And people loved it. Like people love that command like crazy. Like that thing gets, I don't even know how many times that gets used per stream or whatever. Dumpling in my chat also had some sort of play behind it, but I can't remember exactly what he had to do with it, but just to give him a shout out. And then what happened was there was someone who gifted like a crazy amount of subs. Like, I don't know, it was like 50 or 100 or something. That the people who watch me give a insane amount of love and support, which always surprises me. Like, I think for someone of my follow size, I don't think that it's normal to have as many subs and stuff as I do. Like they go absolutely crazy with that stuff. So somebody gave like a crazy amount, and then I said like you're incredibly endowed, and you know whatever. I said like some sort of variation of the current one,
Right.
And then I noticed that when I like said that he was endowed, I think somebody else in the chat said like I want to be endowed too, and then they typed that out in the chat, and then they gifted. Instead of saying, okay, well you're also endowed. And then I realized, like, in that moment, like the little
catchphrase.
businessman, the little businessman in my head went, wait, if these guys get told that they're endowed, more of them will do it. More of them will do it. And then I did it for a follow. I remember I did it for a follow. I was like, you are incredibly kind and enormously well endowed. One person followed, said it again. Another person followed, said it again. Another person, like, it just kept coming because people just want to hear that they're endowed. I guess. I don't get it, but I hope to continue to do it for, now and to forever. But I remember, so Jay rated me at one point, which is the biggest rate I've ever gotten. I think he rated me for like 1,200 people or something like that.
Yeah.
This was pretty recent. And I had to thank every follow. So I gained like over 100 follows and over 100 subs, and I set it out for every single one of them. And then I popped into Jay's stream, and he's like, yeah, like, I know he's grateful, but did he need to say it for every single one of them? He's like, I'm going to go crazy just hearing him say you're incredibly kind and enormously well endowed. So I didn't really put it together. There's probably some people that actually think he's like, holy crap, he's saying it again. Oh my God, I'm going to head out. So there probably is some people who find it a little annoying, but I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it. For sure, for always, for subs. I don't know if it'll get to the point where, we're gaining like 300 follows a stream, maybe when the game's out on Steam and there's Twitch drops or something. I don't know. We'll have to
possible.
see. But
it's possible. Dude, it has been a pleasure. I can't believe that we've gone for an hour 46 now. We've
crazy.
Covered a lot of ground, and we're ending, I think, at a very appropriate place, which is to talk about the future of, well, we've been talking about the future of the game, but now future of your channel. You have done just some crazy cool things in the last few months. Channel seen a lot of growth. You got Twitch partner, which I don't even know if we brought that up. So congrats. Your first application went through. And that's just huge. So I wish you nothing but the best, man, and really appreciate you coming on. To the Soapy faithful that joined, thank you guys very much. Just a quick shameless plug for the channel here. I just hit 500. I blinked and I hit 500 like within the last 2 days. I need to send out a community note about that, because that's a big milestone on the way to 1,000. And
we gotta get you streaming. We gotta get you streaming.
I've hit the go live button a couple times, man, but I don't know. It's hard for me to get uninterrupted time, and I feel like it's kind of
true. Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're gonna hit the go live button and then every hour you got to take a break to do something, and you're gone for 15, 20 minutes, like it's tough. There are times where I know I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 hours, which I probably should hit the button and I don't, but. So the YouTube channel is definitely the focus for me. And for those of you guys that are here for the first time, I only do dark and darker stuff here. So if you can be incredibly kind and as well endowed as possible and just follow, don't do anything else. I don't have any paid stuff here. So, just the simple, sub on YouTube. It's a sub. I'll only clutter your feed with dark and darker related content. So, appreciate all you guys. Soap, any parting words for the good people here?
Yeah, so first and foremost, if any of my boys are still here, you better subscribe to him. That is a demand. That is a demand. You okay, I can't swear. Okay, yeah, you guys need to subscribe to Arcane. Out of all the dark and darker community, he is one of my favorite people in it. But I still remember, like, when I was a little dark and darker baby, you were like, hey, let's get you on the podcast. And I was like, oh, what? Okay, sure. And that got me a lot more eyes. So I've always appreciated you doing that. But yes, boys, please follow Arcane everywhere.
Oh yeah, man. Much appreciated. Well, guys, thanks again. I will have this up. So typically for these player profiles, I will take them down. So this one will be up for like another 2 minutes. 3 minutes, and then I'll take it down, and then I'll craft a little intro to properly introduce Mr. Soapy here, and I'll put the curated version back up within hopefully a week or two. I've got a lot of IRL stuff coming up, so I might not be able to get it all polished up by next weekend, but it will be out. So that's one of the benefits of tuning in live, is you see it here first, and everybody else is going to have to wait for a little while. But Soap, thanks again, man. I'm looking forward to what 2024 has in store, both for your channel and for the game, man. It's been an honor.
Yes, sir. Very exciting. Been an honor for sure.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.